Hi everyone, this is your host Ernie signing in, and welcome to It Only Happens to Ernie podcast.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up.
If you can't answer your damn phone, I'll go ahead and cut it off. The car's got to be up to Timbrook Collision Center in the there 9 a.m. on Monday. So if you don't call back, I'm going to cut your damn phone off. Yeah, now, I don't know what you got yesterday, but if you need something, you better go get it now because they're calling for a snow bomb this afternoon and going through tomorrow and 70-mile-an-hour wind. So you better get whatever you need and get it now. Get home. Thank you.
Aaron, I thought you tried to call me. Well, internet's been on, off, on. It's just going crazy up here. Today's the day the government shut it down, so I don't know what's going on with the internet. We got it. If we don't, talk to you later. Call me and let me know what you done, how it went.
If you're out there in Port Ashton, Wilma's ain't a bad place to eat. They got a good hamburger steak and onions and potatoes, stuff like that. So, give me a call later. Hey, girl, I'm just getting back at you. Coming out of the market, she had me doing this and that and this. So she won't go out because she still got bad COVID. So I'll talk later. I couldn't get the damn Hulu on there fast enough, and Maple got mad, but Happy New Year.
We're having steak, baked potatoes, corn on the cob. I'm going to start them here, and I'm going to start the corn here in just about 5 minutes, and the potatoes in 10 minutes, and the steaks in 15 minutes.
I just called in to find out how things was, see if Steven's better, you're better, both sick or both better, just checking on you. Give me a call.
Yeah, and I thought you often maybe you watch kids on out here at the hospital that get a blood transfusion. Give me a call when you get a chance.
Yeah, I was trying to find out how you felt today, if you're working or what's going on. Give me a call.
Hi guys, welcome back to my podcast. As you can already tell by my intro, this episode is going to be slightly different than my usual episodes. The past few episodes, I've been just retelling stories of my life of moving here to America. And every episode, I've been purposely leaving out the biggest part of my life since moving here, and that is my dad. When I started this podcast a month ago, I knew I wanted to have a whole episode dedicated entirely for my dad. My dad sadly passed away around this time last year. April 25th will mark 1 year since his passing. And this episode is dedicated to him, to honor him, to remember him, to keep his name, his legacy, and his memory alive. So I do want to give a quick warning for any of you listening to this episode of any triggers around grieving topics. I fully understand that this episode may be going to be difficult to get through. It's hard for me to even just recording this. I'll do my best to get through it, and I apologize if things are a bit choppy. It's more than likely just me stepping away to collect myself. But if you want to sit with me here and allow me to introduce you to the greatest man I've ever had a privilege to call him my dad, and help me honor him by listening to this episode, I appreciate it. When I think about how my dad would introduce himself, I think of him saying, "My name is John Bauman, and I'm just a broke country boy." Dad would always proudly introduce himself by his name. He tells everyone his full name. In the world of people that is so afraid of scammers and random people knowing any personal information, Dad did not care. He had always been proud of who he was and what he stood for. And what he stood for was being a good person, being honest with others, and being a country boy. Dad was born in 1949 right here in Cumberland, Maryland. He has a total of 6 siblings he grew up with, and as Dad always said it himself, he grew up very poor. No electricity, one share bath with same dirty water. His parents and the oldest kids gets the first fresh bath. And Dad was second youngest of total of 9 family members. So he spent the rest of 70 plus years of his life talking about the murky, dirty bathwater. Dad said they didn't have much growing up, but there was a full house of them and his mom was always baking. He told us his house was boil hot in the summer because his mom would bake all day long and would sell baked goods in downtown, right in Cumberland. His dad, unfortunately, he did not talk much about his dad, at least to me. But I did look up on this a little bit of his family history, and I found a record that stated that he was the automobile repair, but what kind and if how long he's working there, I'm not sure, but I just knew that his dad was a very hardworking man. He always talk about that, mention that, but also very poor. Dad told me he grew up doing farm chores. That was his job before going to school in the morning. And just like anyone who grew up in that time would say, he walked uphill and downhill and through suns and rain and snow to school. My dad, who was also a guy who does anything the hard way because it's the right way, told me that life was hard growing up. And I believed him. He would have to wake up in the dark of early mornings every day to milk the cows, take care of the chickens, do these farm chores every day before school. He said all of them had to do it. It didn't matter who you are, how old you are, the girls, the women, all of them had to do it. No job was too big for any general in his parents' household. And I find it so funny that his last name is Bauman, and it spells Bauman. And I've sort of looked into this a little bit because Dad said that, there was German in his family. And when I look up the Bauman last name, according to Google, you get the farmer as definition. And I find it so funny that it's literally built in his last name. It was his whole identity. But Dad said he was tired of it. He hated that life. So when he was in his senior year of high school in 1966, he joined the Marine Corps. He told us he was tired of his life, tired of getting up and milking the cows, tired of being poor. He wanted to get as far away as he could. And Marine was his one-way ticket from the life he wanted out. The next thing he knew, he was on a plane to Vietnam. Dad sacrificed and served our country with honor. He was in the Battle of Khe Sanh in 1967, where he was shot and injured. Now, I do want to say that when it comes to this specific period of time in the war, Dad actually didn't talk much about it. A lot of the stories that I've heard had only been mentioned once or twice by Dad himself. A lot of it is actually through words of mouth. People who knew Dad, story he had told once or twice to someone else, and once in a while we would get lucky and hear it again or hear a different story from another person. Dad did not like talking about it. He got a battle scar that lasted him a lifetime, grenade that hit him bullets that shot through him in his lung, and another was left in his body to this day. Dad's troop was under attack. He lost his whole troop that day, his friends, his brothers. But it wasn't going to be him. When Dad was leaving for Vietnam, he thought to himself he was leaving and never coming back to this hard farm life. But soon right after he got shooed off that plane, he realized this wasn't going to be the one-way ticket out of that hard life he was thinking of. Although Dad told us many times that he had to go all the way to Vietnam to find out how poor he really was growing up, because he realized they had electricity way before he did back home in US. He said he couldn't believe it. How's the third world country had electricity before we did? Dad was naive, just as any 18-year-old would be at the time. It's funny, he didn't really talk a whole lot about the details of the war, but he did talk about other things of him being in Vietnam. He said he couldn't find a cow, but really wanted steak. And the closest thing to that was a water buffalo in the rice field. So him and his buddies killed it for what he thought would be a step down from a steak dinner. But as Dad said it was horrible. The meat was tough as a rock, so not steak. When I was going through old picture from the war for the funeral, I stumbled across this picture of Dad in what it looks like a hospital pants. Another picture was an Asian lady with a pointy rice field hat and a note next to it that wrote, "Lady that helped John." Dad was injured while on patrol in Da Nang, Vietnam. He only told this story once, and only once to us. His base was under attack. He was bombed and shot. But he said he wasn't dying, not him. So Dad crawled through and got underneath the truck and became a sniper. One by one, he shot and killed his opponent. He was badly hurt, but he told himself he wasn't dying. He kept waiting for reinforcement, for backup, days on end. War would make you hard. Dad told us it's you or them. You kill them first, or they kill you first. And he said it wasn't going to be me. So for days, he stayed underneath that truck, hiding, and he shot first before they ever saw him. One of the things Dad said to me that struck me about faith, he said, these guys would say, oh, they don't believe in God and it's all bullshit. When they're out in the field and on their knees dying, you don't hear anything but them begging for that same God they didn't believe in to let them live. Until death look you right in the eyes, nobody wants to believe in God. But I do. He made it out of that war with 2 Purple Hearts honors and PTSD that he never likes to talk about. But I get it. It doesn't feel much like an honor when you lost one of your lung and come home learning life the hard way. It definitely wasn't an honor when he made it back home, right back in his town. The same town he couldn't wait to get away from. He told us he had to fight when he get back home from Vietnam. People hated that war and anyone that fought it. They weren't nice or kind to guys that made it back alive. And Dad was a small, short guy, but he wasn't going to let that stop him from winning. He said he wasn't losing. People were picking a fight with him, and he said he didn't make it back home to lose another fight. Dad eventually got married to his first wife. They had a daughter together. The military didn't make him rich. He was still the same old poor country boy. So he worked 3 jobs to provide for his family. Got a car, a house, a whole life dedicated to his family. He got himself out of that poverty he grew up in. But this one cost him too. He wasn't around much from working so much, and it cost him his relationship with his family. Now, this is the part I'm not going to get much into, and the reason is because it's not my story to tell. I wasn't around then. But what I can say is that the only daughter that showed up in his funeral a year ago was me, his stepdaughter. Dad had just gotten divorced from his ex-wife. He decided he was going to Vietnam. He was going back to visit all the places he was there 40 some years ago. And if you're wondering why I'm mentioning about this random trip to Vietnam, it's because I found out much later that when he got back from that war, his PTSD was so severe, he hated Asian people. It triggered him. It triggered his PTSD. It triggered the horrible, horrible time of his life. And so he came a long way to go from that to wanting to go back to Vietnam, back to the place that badly injured him. And on that trip, he met someone. And if you already know where I'm going with this, yes, it's where he met my mom in Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. And this is where I came into the picture. Now, I didn't know that they met on this trip. My mom went to Vietnam for work, and when she came back, she didn't say a thing to us. And I don't blame her. She's not going to mention a random guy to her kids. But they kept in contact. I don't remember how long before they saw each other after their trip in Vietnam. But one day, Mom told us she had an American friend coming to visit us in Thailand. I thought to myself, boy oh boy, here we go. Now, around this time, Mom was dating. I mean, I can tell she was dating, but it wasn't like she was dating around, you know what I mean? Like, there weren't many guys that she was going out and meeting with or anything like that. I think online dating became a new thing just then. And Mom was finally in the market of finding someone after years of being a single mom and not looking. The first time I met Dad, I thought, damn, Mom, he's old. We have just met him lately, but Mom said we're taking her new friend to a beach trip in Pattaya. I remember thinking, Pattaya? Who goes to Pattaya for a beach trip? But it was where Dad wanted to go. So there we went. And on that 1 hour or so car ride of that trip was when I really got to meet Dad. I remember him asking my mom to put on his country music CD in our car. And man, oh man, did he blast his country music. And one of the songs that was on repeat, I later found out it was called Cotton Eye Joe. And if that song doesn't represent my dad, I don't know what song really does. It's loud, it's obnoxious, it's offensive. Our Thai culture is pretty particular about keeping anything below your waist in the low or ground place. So putting your feet in places like coffee table that many Westerners do deemed super inappropriate in our culture. And what did Dad do while on our road trip singing his Cotton Eye Joe? He put his feet up on our mom's car dashboard. And I was horrified. Up to that point, I was raised very Thai proper, so seeing that was shocking and offensive to me. But I look over to Mom, and she didn't say anything. She was happy. For the first time in years, Mom was happy. But I didn't care for Dad. I remember thinking to myself, God, I hope Mom picked someone else. How ironic is that? Because I can't imagine anyone else to be my dad. To be honest, I don't know if this is normal. I don't know if this is similar to how other people or other kids feel when they blend family, but I felt like Dad has always just been Dad. Don't get me wrong, I still find Dad to be obnoxious and loud and offensive most of the time. But Dad has always been Dad since day one. He never treated us any differently. He always been kind, always been honest, always been himself. He always been Dad. He treated us the same as the day we met till his very last day. Dad adopted my brother and I. He had provided for us, taught us everything he knew. If you listen to my last week episode, I talk about my mom leaving us to work in Thailand. What I didn't mention though was how Dad was there the whole time. I don't think Dad liked that decision, but he supported Mom. Dad had always supported Mom, whatever makes her happy. And as I was learning to get used to have a father figure around, Dad and I became really close. Dad will give it to me straight. No bullshit. You might not like what he has to say or how he says it, but he's going to give it to you straight. I felt like I could mess up 100 times, 1,000 times, and I know Dad's going to raise his voice, but I know he will raise hells to help me fix it. And he did. Every single time. But not just me. I mean, Dad would help anyone and everyone. One thing that Dad used to do on top of working 3 jobs was Dad used to fight for kids and take the parents to court so these kids would have a winning chance at life and not fail through the system. He loves kids. Dad talked about this, but I didn't understand the impact he made until one day a cop pulled over on our way to Blackwater Fall State Park in West Virginia. It's about an hour and a half drive from where we live. Dad went over the speed limit, gave the cop his driver license, and the cop recognized the name on the card right away. He looked back and asked Dad, "Are you the John Bauman that used to fight for kids in court 20 years ago?" I remember thinking to myself, like, we're literally in the middle of nowhere and people still know you're John Bauman? The John Bauman? If you met my dad, you know he's a pretty unforgettable guy. You might think to yourself, there's just no one like him, and you're probably not wrong. His camo t-shirt, his hat, the way he talks, the way he just speaks as if he's speaking to himself in his mind. I mean, Dad could not offend more people in his life with his potty mouth than he had. His hot temper, his West Virginian redneck accent, his love for food and all-you-can-eat buffet, and oh my gosh, he could eat crabs for days. I don't think Dad could be happier than when he's just sitting down with a pile of crab on the table with that American butter dip on the side. That man loves crab and his gun. We grew up in Thai as Buddhists, like 95% of Thai people. And in Buddhism, they do not believe in killing of any kind, even if that's for food. So when we moved here and all Dad talked about was his gun and hunting, I thought, no way. Nope. This is a sin. This is not okay. My mom was not okay. She hated it. But honestly, pretty quickly we came around to it. Mom later saw it as a good survival skill to have. I mean, Mom and I never went hunting with the boys or anything like that, but Mom insisted my brother to join Dad every time. He saw a great skill in operating guns and knowing how to hunt and kill and skinning and getting meat, especially from the deer. Life in Bangkok was very convenient. Everything was cheap. Labor was cheap. But here in America, you have to do everything yourself. Nothing is cheap in this country, especially not labor. So we learned how to cut woods, how to start a fire in wood stove, what to do when the power went out, the redneck way. And the power would go out pretty often when we had snowstorm back in the day. No power, refrigerator went out, not a problem in our house. You got a natural fridge right outside, especially when it's cold out. And as long as you can fire up your wood stove, you can heat up for water, cook up your food, and keep your house warm. All from one wood stove. Dad taught us that. Dad's favorite sandwich was an onion sandwich. Honestly, this man eats anything and everything. He didn't care if he offended anyone with his breath. I mean, this is the same guy who he thought he was going to get the second best steak from Water Buffalo. He used to say, little dirt won't hurt ya. It's good for ya. And anything he says goes. The thing I admire the most about Dad was his heart, his ability to give. Dad was the most selfless person I've ever known. It's funny, he got himself out of poverty. He worked so hard his whole life, but not for riches of the world. It was simply so that he could provide for his family, for those less fortunate than him, for anyone who needed help. It's not if he can help, it's if I can help, I will find someone else or other way to help you. Dad never abandoned anyone. Not the homeless person he took in, not anyone he saw walking in the rain. Dad used to say to me, people that know him either love him or hate him. But either way, they know who I am, John Bauman. And he used to say, I don't like them to know how much I'm really worth, so I like to tell them my name is John Bauman and I'm just a poor country boy. And if you're wondering about my intro, yes, it's all my dad's voicemail, and tons of it. Dad loves to call people up. I don't think Dad got an inside voice or impulsive thoughts because whatever comes to mind, he just says it out immediately. And if you're not next to him to hear it, he'll call you. He loves that phone of his, man. I mean, if he got a phone, you won't go a day without hearing from him. And if he called and you didn't answer, you're going to hear his voicemail. Everyone know this. And I'll be honest here, I took those voicemail for granted at times. I see missed call and thought, oh boy, here we go again. What does Dad gotta say now? Which is funny because I would do anything right now to get even one more phone call from him. I would do anything just to call him one more time and know that he will always answer me, just as he did when he was still here. But since I can't call him on my phone like I usually would, I am going to call him here. And it won't be him this time that gets to leave a voicemail. This time, it will be me. I will be calling my dad in heaven and leaving him a voicemail in a letter I wrote, A Year Without You.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up.
Hey Dad, what are you up to? I hope you'll finally get your rest in heaven. It's... Oh no. It's been a year since you've been gone. When you started to get sick, I remember I used to imagine what life would be like without you. Like I could mentally prepare in some way, but nothing could ever prepare me this. It felt like part of me is missing because it is. Everything is changed. I remember thinking to myself, like, it started with the three of us, me, Mom, and Then you came along and changed our lives. But now, it's back to just the three of us again. I said this to Steven too, and he said, but it's not just the three of you. I'm here now. And I thought that would have made you happy hearing that. that we carry on. I think we're all trying our best to carry on without you. I did what I told you I was going to do. I went back to school and I'm going to get that degree, Dad. A few months after you passed, we went to Ohio and Kentucky to see Mom's side of the family. We haven't seen over a decade. Last time we saw any of them was when we were driving down to Disney World, and do you remember Uncle Bob was still alive then? I hope you meet up with Bob in heaven as well. You talk about California and the seafood there. Well, I finally went to California for the first time. We went to see Aunt Kelly, and she had a baby boy named Dylan. Mom and I had a really good trip together. That it was really nice. Mom ended up staying there to help care for Dylan. I had a really hard time about that for a while. It felt like I lost you and Mom at the same time. It felt like I was being abandoned again. But it's okay. I'm a big girl. I got Steven now, like I told you. You don't have to worry about me. We had our first Thanksgiving without you or Mom. We cooked, we hosted the whole dinner ourselves. You're not going to believe this, but Mom cooked the turkey better than you, Dad. I know yours were the best, but man, Mom's turkey was really, really good. A few of our friends came. We made the best of it without you. We did it. We carry on your favorite holiday without you. And I had your picture on the table eating with us. Mom didn't want to come home for Christmas either, so I did the next best thing. I went to celebrate Christmas with my other family in England. We surprised Steven's family for Christmas. We flew to England a few days before Christmas, and everyone was so happy and surprised. I cried. It made my day. It wasn't the same as Christmas with you and our family, but I was with his family and I didn't spend the trip crying. So I would say it was a successful trip. I turned 29 on that trip. It was weird. I found that day to be harder than Christmas, but I think maybe it's because it reminded me that I lost you before I even turned 30. And I got one of the IT certification from school. I'm not sure what all it's going to do for me right now, but I did it, man, and I'm proud of myself for that. I know you're not going to be super proud of me with this one, but I turned down the job offer, and I could already hear you giving me help, but I've asked for more and they didn't give it to me, so I turned it down. I had to, Dad. I know you and Mom raised us to work our asses off, but I tried that, and this generation doesn't reward working hard. So I gotta work smarter for myself. I don't know. I don't have my career thing figured out yet. I feel like I'm letting you and Mom down on this one, but I also feel like I gotta figure this part out for me, for myself. But don't worry, Dad. I'm going to figure it out. I always do, anyways. And the most important part is probably starting this podcast. I never told you this. I never mentioned it. I think maybe I mentioned it to Mom once, though, but I don't think she took me seriously, but that's okay. I didn't take myself and this podcast seriously at the time either. It's been 6 years of wanting to do this. I was just afraid to start. I don't know. Maybe it's losing you. Maybe it's just life. Maybe it's both. But I just thought, why not? You told me all the time to just do it. Do the damn thing. So I'm doing it. Life is short. I wish I could hug you. Tell you thank you for changing our lives. Taught us everything you knew. got out of 2 snowstorms this year, and I felt like you were there with me, telling me what to do. Felt like you were proud of me for doing that. I hope you're proud of me. Um, anyways, Mom is coming back for your anniversary. Aunt Kelly and Dylan's are coming with her, and I know you're probably excited to know that. I wish I could tell people all the things you've ever done. I didn't even get to mention how you took Mac and Maple in and raised them just as you raised us like your own. But that's okay. This won't be the last of it. I got this podcast and your whole legacy to live on. I love you, Dad. I miss you so much. Rest easy in heaven, old man. I'll talk to you later. I know that was really heavy. I apologize for all the snuffling and if you're listening this far, I just want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for honoring my dad with me. And if you can, if you're lucky enough, call your dad today for me. Tell him you love him. And better yet, if you're able to, please talk to your dad for me. And that's a wrap on this episode of It Only Happens to Ernie podcast. This is your host, Ernie, signing out.
Hey, Aaron, how about putting me on for the kidney transplant list down there for Maryland too? And it'll help me if you're there working and I'm on the list down there. Thank you. Where are you at?
It's just voicemail.
Huh?
It's just thing.